Welcome back to the Catch Podcast. We're going to start off with a
goody?
solemn prayer. Lead us again, Lord.
Bro, what?
Because we're talking about one step forward and two steps
Bro,
back.
I'm joking.
I'm joking.
You need to replay Taylor's face just during that exact
Absolutely. Lead us again, Lord.
Bro, what?
Because we're
I did
talking
not
about
know.
one step forward and two steps
Oh.
back. Thank you for joining us once again. On today's episode, we will be talking about one step forward, two steps back, where you're trying to make progress, but you keep going backwards. So let's just start off with, what is progress? Let's just start with that definition. I like to start off with definitions so we clearly know what we're talking about. So how would you define progress?
Well, I would say that progress is like continual growth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love, those are the only graphs that I like that are like, this is great.
Like the line graph?
Yeah. And like the income to like, what's the word now? Profit ratio graphs when it's constantly going up.
Oh, like net growth?
Yes.
Type?
Yeah. And like demand and supply graphs, like those are like the only ones I like. I hate calculus algebra graphs, but I do them anyway.
Good job.
Algebra.
I love algebra, but like I hate calculus graphs. Like they get on my nerves. But anyway.
Geometry is the best.
Did you
Okay,
say
go
it's
ahead.
the best?
Geometry is the best.
Oh, gross.
Let's stay on topic,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen.
Anyway, yeah, I would just say that progress is continual growth. Anybody else have a definition?
Definition.
No, I think you said that perfectly.
Wait, what was the question?
How would you define progress?
Oh.
And what'd you say again? I'm playing. I'm sure you already said this, but I think it is a continual achieving what needs to be achieved and also removing things that don't need to be there. I'll just go with that.
Yeah, you added a little sauce on what I
Little bit?
said.
Yeah, praise God.
A little
Yeah.
sauce. So when it comes to the journey, right? Because that's when you think of progress, right? It's a beginning, an end. Are you making progress or are you going backwards, right?
Yep.
Is it? I hate to say it this way. Is progress subjective or
Yes.
objective?
Ooh, well, yes. I would say progress is subjective.
Okay. Can you
But
explain?
the goal is objective, if we put it that way.
I don't
Or
understand.
at least should be for everybody. Some people's goals are subjective, and they only answer to them. And that may prove to be very empty when they get to the end of that goal. But objectively, the goal should be to please God and make it happen.
Yeah.
And that goal should be objective for everybody. Now, progress in getting there is subjective because everybody's not the same, obviously. Everybody's struggles are not the same. It sounds redundant. I hear people say this all the time. Everybody's struggles aren't the same. The things people deal with aren't the same. Yes, yes, and yes. But everybody's path simply isn't the same. So sometimes waiting is progress. And sometimes moving is going backwards. So that is why it is subjective. As far as progress towards that objective goal, progress is subjective.
That's good. That reminded me of, did you guys used to play Candyland?
Yes.
A little
I
bit,
love
yeah.
that
Okay,
game.
so that just reminded me
Or the
of
game of life.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally.
that's what I
yeah,
remember.
Yeah. I
That
played
game of life.
Candyland a lot as a child, and man, you would be like right there at the finish line,
Yep.
and then you get that dumb like ice cream card, and I have to go back
Go all the
to
way back.
like the beginning of
Go
the
all the way
board.
back.
So frustrating.
Yes.
But I feel like progress is, I don't know why I'm talking like this, guys. That's not my normal voice, but accent is randomly coming out right now. Anyway.
It's podcasting.
It sounds nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This comes
But
out
I feel
clean.
like progress is kind of like that. Like when you're saying it's subjective, I feel like there's some times in life, like everybody has seasons that they're going through. And sometimes you're just in that struggle season. And it's like, yo, God bless her. God bless him. It's getting a little rough.
Yeah.
But next month, she like they're on fire, like they're at the top of their game, they're getting all these blessings. I feel like everyone has their seasons, and so sometimes you're struggling while it seems like everybody is getting ahead spiritually or naturally, financially, whatever. And then sometimes the tables turn, and now they're struggling and now you're ahead. And like, so that is true, that progress can be subjective, because your season is your season, and ultimately God knows your plan. Like, someone could be achieving, it looks like, and then all of a sudden a couple years later God is doing these great things in your life, and they fell off the bandwagon, and they're nowhere to be found. And it's like those little obstacles in the road that help determine, like, are you going to stay successful? Are you actually going to progress? Or are you just going to get stuck, and then now you're on the decline?
Right. And I feel like that's why it's important to be led in what you're progressing to.
That's true.
Because and that's funny that you mentioned that, because that actually just sparked something in my mind. When you play the game of life, and it's the board game, so a lot of times they tell you, do you want to choose the risky path, or do you want to go the normal path?
You gotta take that risk.
You want to oh, you
Every
took
time.
a risk?
Every time.
Oh, wait.
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Or they'll tell you, like, you want to take the college path, or you want to take the career path, and whatever path you're taking is either longer or it's either shorter, depending on the path that you take. Now, if you were to take the risky path, I think a lot of things that happen to you, I think you would deduct money, you would lose more money. It's more of a possible chance. And I feel like a lot of times people, when it comes to the faith, and I think this is like just a common thing where people think they can go away from God and then think they're able to come back. And sometimes you don't have time for back doors. Sometimes you don't have time for backtracks, because the more that you backtrack, the more you're backtracking what God is really calling you to do. And of course, everything that we're doing in this day and age, in terms of this time that we're in these last and evil days, there's time involved. Like, there's time involved in our progress. So how you progress, how you're able to get there. And I think the Bible talks about how the race is not given to the swift or to the strong, but to those that endure to the end. It's That's not good. About how fast you're able to get to that goal. It's not about how slow you get to the goal. The goal is you got to make it to the end. And you got to run it like you're running a race in a marathon with other people, and you're trying to win the prize. I think that's what Paul said. He talks about how and I'm about to paraphrase it, because I think I only remember it in the sense of it being in a, I don't know why you're doing that, Hadassah. Oh, okay. And he talks about how I don't aim at the air aimlessly. I don't punch the air aimlessly. When I'm punching something, I'm punching with purpose. And so you have to make sure with everything that you do, you're doing something with purpose. You're not doing something because you just want to do it and you just feel like it's excessive to do it, but you do it because there's a purpose behind it.
So what if, in a sense, their purpose is wrong? Because I thought of this. I might, when I edit the video, I might do in like a screen thing, whatever. But what if you have, let's say, good over here, right? And we have bad over here, right? If I'm looking this way and I'm going this way, I'm thinking I'm progressing. If I'm looking that way, I still think I'm progressing, but I'm deprogressing because this is bad, right? But because it seems like I'm going forward, it makes it feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
So what's the question? I feel like you made the point.
So I'll just say, how do you tell somebody to turn around? Like, they think they're right. They completely think they're correct in the way that they're going.
Oh, yeah.
How do you tell them, or how do you convince them to turn around? Like, you're not going the right way. You're not progressing. You're actually deprogressing.
Yeah, well, this just happened in service. What's today? Friday? Saturday? Is today Saturday?
Yes, today is Saturday.
Gosh. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 3 days ago. This just happened. Our first lady just said this. I'm trying to make sure I phrase this correctly. Jesus is the way, the truth, the life. So there is no other way, no other truth, no other life. Okay, I say that to say, if they're going the wrong direction, the only time you're going the wrong direction is when you're going opposite the way of Jesus. So as far as telling somebody to turn around, I don't know. Because as much as you want people to be saved, and as much as you care for them, and you know that God is really the only way to go, you can't make anybody do it. So you can't make somebody turn around if they feel they're going the right way. Mm-hmm. You can't make them. You can try. It's not gonna work. Yeah. You can't make them, but you can tell them the truth in love and be like, "Hey, bro, that's not the way to go. It's not the way." And here's why. And I think some people a lot of times speak out of opinion, and they be like, "That's not the way you're supposed to do it." And I'll be like, "Why?" And then they'd be like, "Because it's not the way you're supposed to." It's like, man, we don't listen to that. Not opinion. Bible. Yeah. Facts. Mm-hmm. If you're going opposite that, you're going the wrong way. Everything else is, if you're living in the Bible, then yeah, you're going the right way, even if it seems like you have setbacks.
Mm-hmm. Right. And don't go the wrong way in order to get somebody. Because I feel like a lot of people do that too. What?
What a stark change in topic.
No, go ahead. Flow.
No, but I'm saying
go right ahead.
But I'm saying, you were just saying how on this, and it's, yeah, whatever. To your question, in terms of how to help someone in deprogressing in that path, I feel like a lot of times people stop what they're doing in their progress to go help somebody else. That's what I was saying. And you were making the analogy that any way that you go in terms of the direction of where Jesus is not, you're going the wrong way.
Yep.
I don't think a person should have to leave Jesus themselves or to stop focusing on Jesus themselves. Okay. To get distracted by what one person is doing in terms of their progress.
So how do you help someone that you feel like you're supposed to help?
Now, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think now it's all dependent on the instance, because the Bible does talk about in Jude where it's like you want to pull them out the fire.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but then there are other times where sometimes you got to lead by example. When you're on when you're on an airplane, the main thing that they tell you is to mask yourself up first. Right. Before you mask up your kids, before you mask up your wife, your husband, whoever,
I know that's
you
right.
need to mask up yourself first. You're crazy.
I know that's right.
But yeah, and I think I don't know why this story keeps coming to mind. Is Peter walking on water, and when he's like to the Lord, "Bid me come, Lord," and it's like it wasn't like Peter was like, "Okay, come on, y'all, let's walk on the water together."
That's so true. Yeah.
He said, "Okay,
that's
Lord,
a good point.
It be you.
Bid me come."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not bid us.
And so now, in the disciples' mind, they're like, "Man, Peter walking on water?
Dang, how he do that?"
Like, yeah, how he do that?
Why not me?
Why not me?
That's crazy.
That's what it's supposed to stir up.
Right.
Because he was constantly telling them, like, y'all supposed to do greater works than I am.
Yeah.
So let me show you through this analogy through Peter. And of course, we see that Peter falls in the water because he lost his focus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And don't ever let anybody make you lose your focus. And don't ever let anybody catch you getting distracted, because the more that you get distracted on other things, you start to sink.
Yeah, no, I love that, because in continuing with like the running or whatever, like race analogy, I feel like there's people while you're running that race that you'll come by, you know, on your journey, and you can pull them up, you can take them with you, great. But like if I gotta turn around and, like you said, like stop running myself to come get you, then that's a problem.
That is a problem.
So it's like when, like you said, when someone steals your attention from God, like that's never good. Even if it like starts where it's like, oh, like even in relationships or whatever, if it starts as like, oh, it's fine, like even we're in church, it's fine. But if they're taking your time away from God, like now you're distracted during your prayer times or can't get into the service, then that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah, and then So now it's reminding me of the verse. Where Paul talks about, know ye that in a race run all, that only one receiveth the prize.
That's what I figured you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. But I went to the other verse after that instead of going to that verse. Yeah. And I think a lot of times in life, this race is different. The race of life is totally different. Yeah. Because the race and I think Paul actually said this. He was like, the race that people in the natural, and I'm only paraphrasing. So he said people that run this race in the natural, they're doing it for an incorruptible crown. Mm-hmm. They're doing for an incorruptible prize. But this prize is important. Mm-hmm. Like David was saying, the objective goal, mm-hmm. like that prize is more important because that's eternal life.
Right, yeah. They're doing it for the corruptible crown. We're doing it for the incorruptible.
So you got to realize what has more weight. Mm-hmm. The goals that you really want to achieve in life or the goal that is really up there.
Right.
Great.
Yeah.
Also, I wouldn't be, as far as using that analogy, staying with it, people passing you on the race. When I was coming up, that used to be like a real big like
problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we were in practice or whatever, or in PE, and everybody's running, somebody pass you, and you're like, oh, I gotta speed up. Forget this form. I don't care nothing about that. I gotta speed up. I gotta catch up with them. But the more you pay attention, even to people that are going the same way as you, the more you pay attention to them, you will mess up your own personal stride. Yeah. You're going to mess up the form that you practiced running so that you would be in a position to win.
Yeah. And I just kind of we talked about progressing, right? And deprogressing. We talked about a lot of motion. Yep. But can we talk about the beauty of being still? Like where you're just in one place and God can just make you or deal with you. Like, can you guys like describe the beauty of that to me?
Yes.
Oh, he's so excited.
I don't know if I like can describe it fully, but that's why progress is subjective. Being still or waiting or not moving, it literally feels, looks, and it's just all descriptions of things that you would not describe as progress.
Right.
When you're stationary, when you're inactive or quote unquote, or when you're waiting, or when you're still, or when you're just stationed, I guess would be a good word to say. And that's why progress is subjective. Because let's say you're running the race, your shoe gets untied. You need to take a minute. Do we need to stop to get there?
No, go ahead.
Like, let's say you're running a race and your shoe is untied. You need to tie your shoe. So you stopping is actually progress.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you don't, you will trip and it will be more harmful down the road because you didn't address it at first. And so progress is not always, quote unquote, what we would define as moving forward or not being stationary or not being still. It's more so what is aiding you towards your goal long term.
That's true. In a way, I like to think of it as like if you're waiting and you're in God's timing, it's almost like you're not moving, but God is moving you like closer and closer. Like you're not doing anything.
That's good.
But God is like, just let me inch you along.
He put you on that treadmill. You ain't even moved, but you still moving. Though.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Which way you feel?
Hallelujah. Yeah.
You out of time?
Yes, we are.
You're out of time.
Yeah.
What?
Well, let me say this one thing.
No. The timer rules all.
No, there's a verse in the Bible that says, "Be still and know that I am God." Sometimes you gotta be still and trust in the fact that God knows what He's doing when He's telling you to be still.
And sometimes life is like a slingshot. You got to get pulled back before you get launched. So that was an amazing episode.
Wow. Why didn't you lead with that one, buddy?
I'm glad I got to put it in, though.
Can I ask a question at the end? I don't know. Well, maybe I'll say
let's just restart the camera real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
It's at 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Maybe I should wait for the next one.
Wait for the next one.
Okay, well, can you be still while you're moving in the sense of the spiritual? Well, because be still and know that I am God, did that mean everybody physically stand still? Or everybody or is it a mindset of I am putting my mind to rest about this? Even though I am still doing all that I should spiritually and whichever other aspect you need to be working towards a goal. Is it more of a mindset of my mind needs to be still?
Yeah.
All this racing and worrying. Because does it mean like stop? Like if I am like, hey, or no, if it's like I want to be the best, construction builder for the church that I want to be. Mm-hmm. And then Bishop preaches, be still and know that I am God. Does that mean, okay, I'm actually not doing anything and it's just going to happen? Or does it mean my mind is at rest? I'm going to do all that I know I can do to research and become better at it, but I'm going to stop overthinking.
No, yeah, I would say it's a mindset. Mm-hmm. And when I was thinking of this topic, a scientific term came to my mind. We had an amazing scientific teacher. She described entropy. Entropy, which is like pretty much disorder of a whole bunch of
entropy.
I love the theory and the meaning of entropy.
Guys. Yes. So I feel like that's kind of what it is. And when God wants you to be still, the atom. I don't think they're atoms. Are they atoms within like or the cells?
I can't tell until you finish your sentence. If it's atoms or cells.
Entropy is just like a law that relates to like the universe, not necessarily. But yes, it is like atoms. I would say atoms. I think to what.
Okay, let's say atoms, where there's so much disorder, but when they get in order, they still move. So I don't know if that helps, but it's not. It's not frantic. Like.
What you're talking about is not entropy. It's more like solids, liquids into solids, gases.
I guess yes.
That's why I was like, I need him to finish the analogy before I can cause I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, because when they're a solid, when those atoms are together, they are still moving, even though they're
rigid.
Yeah,
they're just not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually the point I was gonna make because I think we learned that in.
Science class again?
No. We actually learned that in philosophy. Like, a lot of times when it comes to things that people think are still, it's actually still in motion. Yeah. So, like, I could stand still right now for this 1 second, but then as time is going past, I'm still in motion only for the fact that I'm aging. So, like, you're aging every second. So, I feel like when God is telling us to be still, you're still in motion. However, God just needs you to grow in whatever it is, or to let you know, like, hey, this mindset that you have right now, yeah, you're going to have to be still. But what I'm saying is, while you're being still, don't think you're still not being in motion, because you are, because your brain is more maturing. Your mindset needs to mature a bit. It needs to slow a bit.
It's called silent progress.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another title that we have for this episode.
That's good.
It's silent progress.
So can I say one last thing before we wrap
Absolutely,
up?
yeah.
Okay. So when you were saying that, like, if you were to stand up right now and be like, okay, I'm standing still, and over time you will be, yes, but then also you never stop moving because the earth is moving that you're standing on, right? And then that kind of reminded me, like, a lot of times being still helps you understand what's moving around you.
That's good.
So it almost is like when God asks you to be still, or even sometimes when you ask God to change a situation, sometimes the situation doesn't have to change for your perception of it to change. So, like, if you walk outside, well, maybe not now, it's kind of dark, but earlier today, you're walking into the house where we're filming or whatever, you may not be paying attention to everything that's moving. Like, the trees move, the plants probably blow a little bit with the wind. Maybe something's running in the rocks, that something moves, the birds are flying and everything, right? If you go out there and stand in the middle of the street, I promise you, you will then be totally aware of everything that is not as still as you.
That's good.
And I think when it comes to spiritual, like, that is one of those aspects where God asks you to be still so you can see the things that he's moving around you.
Right, but even still, even if you were to stand still, even if you were to stand still,
pun.
Just keep going.
Even if you were to stand still, if I stood still for 3 seconds right now,
1, 2, 3,
I'm still breathing. So that's still motion. So yeah, like you said.
I'm playing.
So yeah,
but I see the point that you're.
So yeah, like you're saying, like, God is telling you to breathe.
Breathe.
Like, certain situations you need to breathe.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's goody.
That was goody. It was a goody episode. So
no.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys.
No.
Yeah,
it was one too many goodies.
No,
it was like,
no.
it's goody. It was
It was
a
not-
goody episode.
Goody.
No.
So I hope you have a goody day.
No.
And we will
catch you on
you
the
later.
on the next wave.
Okay.
We'll catch you on the next wave,
great.
guys.
Good epi.
I'll catch you on the next wave.
I love
If no one else does.
Like 4 more episodes.
I know.
If no one else does.
But let's do a
Yeah.
breather.